Hey guys, I'm Kumari Singh and welcome back to my channel. I have been looking forward to doing this video for such a long time. So today's video is going to be about tips and tricks on rehearsing and memorising your lines, as well as getting into character and building the character that is given to you. So first of all, I just want to say that my way of rehearsing and memorising lines and getting into character is not the be all end all. You must do it this way, and it will definitely not work for all of you out there, just because we are all individuals. We all have our own ways of learning, of coping, of memorising. You have people out there who are visual learners that like to watch how it's done and then kind of act upon that. You have people that like to write their lines down. Some people like to record themselves and then play it back, and then you get the continuous repetition actors that just kind of say their lines over and over and over again until they eventually have it down. My method is kind of a combination of all of them, not to try and make it too complex, but yeah, so I'm going to simplify it, don't worry, but I'm going to break down how I go about rehearsing, memorising and characterising. That is the structure of today's video. Let's get into it. So the very first thing that I want to say to you is a tip, and the tip is prepare. I cannot stress that enough. Prepare. However you pronounce it, it means the same thing. Prepare for what you are performing for, whether it be a play, whether it be on screen, or whether it's an audition. You need to prepare. And what I like to do, you don't have to do this, but I do it because I'm a freak. Even if I don't have anything to prepare for, you know, even if I'm not going to an audition or I'm not performing anywhere, I kind of like to frequently take monologues, scripts, plays that I like, that I've enjoyed, take little bits from it, and then kind of take little extracts from it actually. Yeah, I would say take extracts from it, and then I would kind of use it as practice and pretend that I'm preparing for something. The reason why I do this, it's because it's good to have that practice, to have a process, and the more you do it, the faster you'll become. And the reason I do it constantly is because, guys, I'm one of those people that think the worst, and this has never happened to me before, but I always prepare for the worst, and to me this would be the worst thing to happen if I ever went to an audition. Kumari Singh? Hi, I'm Kumari Singh. Hiya, hey. Hi. So just wanted to let you know that we've made just a few minor changes to the script we originally gave you. So if you could just quickly look through these for me. And by changes I just mean we've changed the entire scene. So just quickly have a glance at that for me, and I'll come back and get you in 10 minutes. Fine. Okay. Thank you. Okay, see you in 10 minutes. It's fine, Kumari, it's fine. I can do this. And this is what I would love to happen. Kumari Singh? Present. Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming today. So I just wanted to let you know that we've made just a few minor changes to the script we originally gave you. Yeah, so I'm just by changes I mean we changed. Let me see them. So if you could just quickly have a look through these for me, just quickly read through it, become familiar with it, and I'll come back and get you in, say, 10 minutes. Is that okay? 10 minutes. So cute. You're so cute. Come and get me in 5, Belinda. Okay. I'm joking, I'm joking. Not like the second one. Maybe a balance of the two. I'd like to be humble but confident, you know, confident enough to make sure I can, you know, rehearse and remember at least a couple of lines from a new script that's handed to me on the day of an audition. So first things first, if I ever get given a script, so if someone gives me a script, I don't do nothing further with it. I keep hold of the script that's given to me. I don't rewrite it out, I don't retype it out, I leave it how it's provided to me. And then the second thing I do is I read the monologue or whatever's given to me, and for every thought the character has, I draw a bubble around it. And I'm using this one as an example. This one's Bombshells, and you can actually watch this video on my YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. But so if you look at this, if you can see that, you'll notice that for every thought the character has, there's a bubble around it. And then for every new thought, I will start a new bubble. So the reason I do that is not only to follow the character's trail of thought, but it breaks down the monologue. So if you just take it bit by bit and then just rehearse that one bubble, and then once you've got that down, go on to the next thought, it kind of syncs in with each other, and it makes sense that that's what that character would think next after saying what she or he has just said. If that makes sense? I don't know if that's complicating things. You can see what I've done, how I've circled my bubbles, and the reason why I want to talk to you about this one is because during the monologue you can really see when the character changes thought. You can see it in her expression, but you can also see it in the words that she's saying, or hear it in the words she's saying, sorry. So if you just look at the last line where she goes, she doesn't have any major psychological problems. And that's one, so that's the end of the first thought. And then she thinks to herself, oh my God, change your thought, distract yourself. And then she goes, look at the bridesmaids. So you can see the change of tone, you can see the change of thought. So you put another bubble around that, that's a different thought. And I really think this works, guys. If you do that and put a little bubble around each of your character's thoughts, it will really break down the paragraph or however long it is, and it won't look so intimidating to you. And also what I do is I remember the start of the second line or the line after, and that helps me remember the rest of the line. So that's kind of my method of the way I do it, is I read one line and then the second line I memorize that. I don't memorize the whole line, I memorize the first part of the line, and then it flows naturally, then I can just see it. The second thing I do when rehearsing my lines or trying to memorize my lines is I research the words I don't know. Because sometimes, guys, you get a script and you get given words that are just like you've literally never heard them ever before, especially if you're doing like period dramas and stuff, words that are just not used today. So yeah, the second thing I do is I research all the words I don't know or all the words I don't understand, and I write it on the script. So I draw a circle around the word and then a little arrow, and then I write what it means. And I should also mention to use different colours when you do this. So use a different colour to put a bubble around your thoughts, then use another colour to define certain words, and then write a bit of a, you know, a little kind of paragraph so you remember what that actual word means. The third thing I do when rehearsing and memorising my lines is I go through each sentence, each line, and I highlight a word that stands out to me. The reason why I do that is because when I perform it, I would then like to emphasise that specific word I've chosen in that line. And the reason why I do that is because it makes the performance more interesting to follow for the audience, and it doesn't make it seem as though you're just literally reading off of the script. So I like to literally emphasize and go through each line, and for every line I say, have a word stand out so that audience member can really focus on what you're saying and understand and kind of map together what you're feeling or what you're going through or how passionate you are about something or other. So that's the third thing I like to do. The fourth thing I like to do, so the next thing I like to do after that, is I like to look at the language and the punctuation of the script, of the monologue. You know, look, I like to focus on the words that are being said, the choice of words that have been chosen. Are they simple? Are they complicated? I also like to look at the punctuation, where the commas, the full stops, the question marks, the exclamation marks, where they have been purposely placed, and ask myself why the writer has done that, because that everything that is on that piece of paper is very much intentional. They want you to take a gap there, you know, they want you to take a breather there. I also like to look for things like alliteration, repetition, personification, metaphors, anything that you can find within your script, your monologue. Pick it out, you know, seek them out. It's all there to help you tell the story. It's giving you help, you know, it's giving you options of how to perform something. So that's the fourth thing I like to do, is I like to go through it, look at the language that's been placed there, look at the punctuation, and see if that can help me within my performance. So the fifth thing I like to do, or the next thing I'd like to do, I know there's a lot, don't worry, there's not too many more. The next thing I like to do is I like to work on my pronunciation. So depending on where you come from, which regional district you live in, you're going to talk different, your accent's going to be different, and depending on how your character talks as well, you're obviously going to adapt your voice to make it sound like that. But the one thing I would say with your pronunciation, whatever accent you'll use, just make sure you are very, very clear in what you are saying, because it's so critical that the audience understand you. Otherwise, it's just going to sound like it's not going to make sense, basically. And I've also just written some random words that I can give you an example of. So things like anything with a T at the end of it, or a D, or an S, or a F, you know, they can get really confused with different letters when you say them really fast, especially when you're incorporating them with another word straight after. So things like heart, make sure you really emphasize the end of the word. Heart, spent, conjoined, make sure you make the sound of the last word, sorry, the last letter. Conjoined, made, of. Now of is a tricky one, so you know, if I were to say the son of a gun, if I say it normally it'd be like son of a gun, but sometimes when you say the word of, it can sound like off, or if you're far away they might not be able to understand you. So if you turn the last letter into a V and say of the son of a gun, you don't have to do it quite literally like that, just make it blend in, but just really focus on the diction and the last letter of each word, if that makes sense. So well, that's what I like to do, is I like to go through the pronunciation, sorry, of the words. I'm not doing a good job of it myself, actually. So the next thing I like to do, I'm not going to number it anymore because it looks like it's just going up and up and up. The next thing I like to do is the subtext. I like to work on subtext. What is not being said within your performance, within your monologue or your script or whatever's being said? What is not being said? You know, I love to look at the subtext. Why is this person feeling like this feeling? Sorry, why is this person feeling the way they're feeling? What's kind of under the surface of it all. I like to kind of explore that. So always look at the subtext. Not if you're doing Shakespeare. If you're doing Shakespeare, never, ever, ever think to yourself that there is any kind of subtext. Because there's not. There is no subtext in Shakespeare. He means everything he says on the paper, and you should not look any more into it than that. It is already on there. Shakespeare's actually a whole different breed, okay? There's so many rules when it comes to Shakespeare. So if you want a video on Shakespeare, like learning lines in Shakespeare, then let me know and I'll try and do it for you. But that is just a totally different thing. Like, there's so many do's and don'ts with Shakespeare. But if it's just if you're just doing a normal piece that isn't Shakespeare, then I would advise you to try and look at the subtext, you know, what is not being said, you know? What's going through your mind when you're saying these lines that you're saying, you know? So yes, I would say the next thing I do is look into the subtext of it all. What I also do as well, I don't try and do it too much, but I try and form a little bit of structure to the monologue or whatever I've been given, just so I can see where, you know, where the scene builds up, when it comes down. And I only do it roughly, just because I do want it to be natural. So I don't want it to look like I've staged that, you know, on this particular line I'm gonna get really angry because that doesn't look real. But I do write like, speed up this sentence. So if I'm trying to get something across, I'll speed this line up. Or if I'm trying to slow something down, I'll take it a bit slower on the next line. If I'm trying to emphasize something, I will emphasize that word, you know? So I kind of go through the whole script. Once I've analyzed it, once I've done everything to it, I then try and fit in, you know, where the scene's building up, when it's coming down, and try and kind of structure it a little bit like that. So the last thing I do is, as my teacher Chris would say, clothe the bones. Clothe the bones of your character. Kind of build up an imagination of, you know, where your character's been. Ask yourself some questions. Who are you? What kind of state are you in? What's your shoe size? Why are you in the state you're in? Who are you talking to? What's your relationship with that person? How do you feel today? What's your, I don't know, what's your favourite type of ice cream? Just build a world for yourself, for your character to live in. So when you come into the room and you're performing what you're performing, you have some kind of background, you have some kind of surface to yourself, some kind of depth. Once I've done everything to the piece of paper I can possibly do, once I've done everything to the script, it's then time to bring it alive. So going back to the methods of how I memorize, with me it is definitely a repetition. I literally say it over and over and over again, and then it gets to a point where I just follow one bubble at a time, and then I can remember each bubble individually, and then I can take the paper away and it will all come together in my mind and just make it form like one natural kind of paragraph that I've come up with myself, that I'm talking through. So in my mind, what the second line is or what the second paragraph is, it comes natural to me, almost as if I were to say it myself. You know, when you have one thought, you've always got another thought in your head. So the second line is always the second thought in my head of what I want to say. So that's kind of how I revise, how I memorize, how I characterize. I really do like to go into in depth when I am rehearsing lines, but I do it so often that it becomes like really fast for me. I can just, everything I've just said, I do it without having to think about it, and then next thing you know, I'm just rehearsing. And every now and then I like to get a random script from a play or a book or a monologue, and I like to rehearse it, just so if ever I'm in a position where somebody's given me a script and given me 10 minutes and says that you need to, you know, become a bit familiar with this, I can do it with a bit of confidence and, you know, not kind of buckle at the knees or anything like that, or get scared, because it is kind of like that in this business. It is very, you know, stop, start, change, and all this malarkey. So annoying. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Some tips I would like to say. The first one is prepare. I can't stress it enough. And I'll also leave a link of the Graham Norton show. If you watch Graham, Matthew McConaughey's got a really funny story. He was on it a couple of weeks ago of what happened to him when he didn't prepare. Watch it, you'll laugh your head off. It was so funny, but I'll leave it in the description box below. Prepare, man, I can't say it enough. Also, the other tip that I would give you, and it's one of the most important ones actually, do not, under any circumstances, and this is going to be really hard, but try not to watch someone else perform the thing you are about to perform. So what I mean by that is, if you are doing a very popular play or film or whatever you're doing, or audition piece, chances are it's been done before and it's been done by the best, and you can see it. You can see it on YouTube. You just type it in, some famous actor has done it, and chances are if you watch their performance, you'll find yourself saying the words as they said it. You won't say it like you want to portray it. You'll say it the way they do it, and you might not even mean to copy it, but it's the way they're saying it which makes it so memorable. It sticks in your head and it is so hard to get out of. And even if you're trying to rehearse, you'll kind of find yourself doing it the way that other person did it. So try not to do that. Try and make it your own. Try go through a process. Find your own process. See what you can do to make the character yourself, because the character you're playing, they've been played a million times before, so you need to do it in a way where no one else has seen it done really. And I'll also give you an example. So Friends, the TV sitcom Friends, I don't know anybody, first of all, who hasn't watched Friends, and if you haven't, shame on you. You need to watch it. But I don't know anybody who hasn't watched Friends that when they are quoting Friends to me, they don't say it the exact same way as the characters say it.
All right.
Could we be more white trash? Could I be more sorry?
No. Ross got married again? No. And that's Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
Don't! Sure didn't look this way when I lived here. I know. Oh no.
And it's not even what they're saying. It's not even what they're saying that makes it funny. It's the way they're saying it. And then if ever you're just having a normal conversation and the line that they happen to say happens to fit into the line you're about to say, you'll instantly think of Friends and then say it the way they say it, even when you don't mean to. So don't try and watch other people perform what you're about to perform. It will definitely put you off, and you'll find yourself just replicating what they say, which is a big no-no. Don't do that, okay? Just do it yourself, trust yourself, have your process, and I'm sure you will be fine. So guys, I hoped that helped, even if it was just a little bit, even if it was just one tip you picked up from me today. I really hope it helps. I don't know if anybody else is rehearsing for anything at the moment, considering, you know, pandemic. Have you seen that meme? Oh my god, have you seen this girl? She's on the phone and she's eating crisps, and it's like, oh, I would invite you over, but you know, pandemic. You have to watch it. It's not funny when I do it. But yes, there we have it guys, my method of how I come to memorize and rehearse lines. It's not an easy thing to do, especially if, you know, your script is the size of the dictionary. it's a lot. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. Give yourself a process, take your time, but repeat it and do it so frequently that if ever anything is given to you, you can literally read it enough times to the extent where you kind of remember or have a rough idea what's going on the script, that when you're in the audition room, you're doing a cold read through, you can at least look up to the people that are watching you and you can quickly glance back and then crack on. Do you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? But yeah, so I mean, that's what helps me, and I really do hope that some of what I said may kind of relate or help you in your process. I'm gonna go now because my back's really hurting me because I've been sat on the floor, but I will catch you guys in the next video I do. Please stay tuned for it because it's going to be such a good video and I'm going to find myself going down memory lane, which will be really nice. So stay tuned for the next video. I hope you're all keeping safe and healthy. If you're in the UK like me, we are currently living through our second day of the national pandemic. Watch that video, it's really funny. But yes, stay safe and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!